Good afternoon once again. Today we're going to continue our discussion on data types and data structures. So far, what we have covered are the data types. We have learned the distinction, the difference between numeric data, integer, character, logical, complex, and dates. Okay, so today we're going to continue our discussion on data structures. We learned before that there are several types of data structure types like vectors, lists, matrices, arrays, factors, data frames, and we also have time series and even panel data. Okay, so before we already started discussing, last week we started discussing vectors. A vector is atomic because it only contains one data type. So if it has the elements are numeric, then all the numbers, all the elements should be numeric or integer or logical, etc. So only one type of data. Now we go to the second type of data structure is list. A list is an R structure that may contain object of any other types. So it can contain a numeric data, it can contain integer, it can contain a logical, etc. And it contain also other lists. So let's have an example of a list. So let me put it here, Control Alt I. So let's create an object called, let me say, let's say G, or G1 first. So G1, so G1 contains, let's start with the numeric 1, 2, okay, ano na lang. So R norm na lang, no? R norm na 5, R norm. Gawin nating set that seed is 100 para pare-pareho tayo. So this means 5 numbers with the minimum equal to 0 and standard deviation is equal to 1. So that will be our G1. Our G2, let's make it a, let's say 1 up to 6. So this is integer, right? G3, let's make it, let's see, from the letters object, let's see kung gusto natin na 1 up to 5 lang. One up to 5. So, may character tayo, G4, lagyan natin ng, let's put, true, false, true, false. Logical. Okay, so, and then G5, let's put some complex number. Let's see. C 3 minus 2i, and then 2 plus 3. So we have 2 complex numbers. Okay, so magsiset that seed tayo para pare-pareho yung R natin. So we're creating here, these are actually vectors, di ba? G1, this is numeric vector, this is integer vector, this is character vector. Okay, yung letters kasi na object, if you recall class, if I type here letters, okay, so this is a constant, no, in R. It stands for all the letters of the alphabet. If this was written, if you recall class, did we discuss this last time, class? Yung capital, no? Or was it in another class? Did we discuss it?
We didn't, sir.
Sorry. Makakalimutan ko kasi minsan may na-interject ako sa ibang classes na hindi ko na-discuss sa ibang section. So, ito, letters, this is a constant, no? And just for the information of everyone, this actually comes from your base R, base. Lagyan natin ito ng question mark, base, and then constants. Dapat base, double column. Yan, constants. So these are built-in constants that come with the base package. If you run this, ito yung mga constants yan. Yung letters, capital letters yan from A to Z. Small letters. Itong mga months naman, months, that abbreviation, JAN, FEB. Ito naman yung whole name. Okay? So these are constants. And so if you use the letters object, automatically, katulad ng ginawa ko dito, no? Type ko letters, then enter ko, it's a vector consisting of all your letters of the alphabet. Okay, so sinama ko siya dito. I included it here, letters, and then it's only 1 to 5. Ibig sabihin nun, sinasubset ko na yung letters object, ba yung letters object kasi, yun eh, no? And I'm only including, gawin natin para medyo maiba, let's make it 10 to 15. So that's J, K, L, M, N. Number 10 kasi, J. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, hanggang letter O. Okay, so let's run this. Run this object. Then there you go. Meron na tayo ditong mga nasa values, no? So we have a numerical vector. We should have the same values. Negative 5022.135. If I print G1 here, ito yung 5 na randomly generated, normally distributed. Yes, John, any question?
Sir?
Yes.
For G5 po,
okay.
Wasn't it supposed to be 2 plus 3i po?
2 plus, sorry, mali, 2 plus 31 to. Thank you, John, for the correction. Tama. 2 plus 3 ayan, class. So, baguhin natin si G5. I'll just run G5. Okay, so, although kanina, nung ginawa kong 2 plus 31, no, nag-coerce siya, ginawa niyang complex pa rin. But anyway, sige. So, G5. 3 minus 2i and 2 plus 3i. So we now have these vectors G1, G2, G3, G4, G5. Okay. Now let's combine this. Concatenate natin to. Control Alt I, and then let's create this object G6 Alt minus G6 will be i-combine natin si G1, G2, G3, G4, G5, G5, no? Combine natin sila, tapos tanungin natin yung class ni G6. Okay. Diba you have here, si G1 is numeric, si G2 is integer, G3 is character, G4 is logical, G5 is complex. And we're putting them in one object called G6. Okay? So it's a combination of they're all vectors, pero numeric, integer, etc. So does this consist of a list? Kasi sabi natin, ang list, it's an object that contains several types of data. Okay, if I run this, okay, ano nangyari? I-print ko nga si G6, by the way. Let's print G6. And then, let's get the class. Run natin ulit. Alright, take a look at G6. Ano laman ni G6? Notice na yung mga numbers, anong ginawa sa kanya? Yung mga integers, yung mga logical values. What happened, class? What did they become?
Characters.
Yes, they became characters. How do we know? Nagkaroon ng quotes, di ba? Eh si G1 hindi naman ano yun eh, di ba? Hindi naman character yan. Let me run G1 here. Okay, G1. Ipiprint ko si G1 ha. O, isama ko si class. Class ni G1. Okay. Si G1, uh, these are numerical values, di ba? Okay. Sama ko si set.seed para pare-pareho tayo. Yan, yung kanina to, no? 0.502. So, numeric siya. Okay? Pero nung kinambine ko siya into 1, ginawa kong G6 is G1 plus G2, G3, etc. Tapos, tinanong ko yung class, naging character siya. Okay, what's happening here? Okay, this is a process called coercion. Okay, so nag-create si R ng isang object na G6. However, anong ginawa niya? Take note, G1 is numeric. Okay? G2 is integer. Tapos meron tayo ditong character. So ano nangyari? Okay? Si numeric class, can it be quote unquote coerced or converted into a character? Yes. Yung 502 na yan, pwede maging character yan eh. Paano? Lagyan mo lang ng quotes. No? So all of these things here can be coerced, quote unquote, or converted into a character. Bakit siya convert into a character? Kasi dun sa sa object natin na G6, kasama si character. Sino si character? Si G3. Ito, si letters. So, ang ginagawa ni R, tinitingnan niya, saan yung pinaka mako-convert ko lahat ng mga objects. Definitely si letters, hindi mo pwedeng gawing numeric. Right? Pero si numeric, pwede mong gawing character yan. Okay, si integer, pwedeng gawing character yan. Si logical, pwedeng gawing character. Tapos si complex, pwedeng gawing character. So what happened was, since you were asking R to create this object called G6, tapos combination siya ng G1 up to G5, create niya. Pero, kino-erase niya. Okay, ginawa niyang character lahat. Otherwise, hindi pa pwede kasi. Okay, so this is not a list. Okay, paano natin gagawin list yan? Control Alt I. So here, I'm creating this object. I'll call it G7. G7. Alt minus. And then instead of using C, instead of just combining them, I'll create this object. I'll use the list function. Okay, and sabi dito, function to construct, coerce, and check for both kinds of R lists. Okay, so I'm using list here. And then, pasok ko to. Control C, Control V. Okay. So I'm creating this object G7, tapos magkakasama si G1 hanggang G5. Tapos tanungin natin kung ano yung class ni G7. Okay. But here I'm writing the function list. So ang sinasabi ko, gawin niyang list itong G1 up to G5. Okay, so let's run this. Okay. Now take note. 'Di ba? Iba na, no? Kanina yung result itong result ng G6, kinoncatenate natin G1 to G6. Okay, tingnan nyo. Ang result nito, it's a vector, no? It's a vector na lahat characters. Ito naman, you notice the result is different. Okay? So ano laman niya? Number 1, so this means that this is the first element of your G7. And it contains these 5 numeric values. Number 1 dito is your 5.02. Number 4 here means the 4th element of the first object of G7. Okay, so ganun ang ibig sabihin itong mga bracketing, itong mga subsets to. No? So this is the second subset. In fact, okay, if I write G7, and then okay, double brackets and then 2. Tingnan natin kung ano mangyayari dito ha. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Okay, yan. Tingnan nyo. G7, second element of G7, which is G2, print niya kung ano laman ng G2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Okay? Alright, so that's what these brackets mean. Subset lang yan, kung anong pang ilang subset siya. Ito yung letters, no? Third element of G7. Yung number 1 dito, this is the first element of the third element of G7. So yung 1 dito, si J yan. Okay?
Problem.
Alright, and then this is yung G5 natin, yung complex number natin. Tapos tinanong natin yung class ni G7, it's a list. Okay? So now you can see here that it's no longer character, it's no longer a vector, no? It's already a list. And when we check that in the environment, tingnan natin difference. Okay, take a look at this. Lahat ng mga vectors nasa values. Pero G7 is not under values, it's under data. Look at this. So may distinction na ngayon, yung list at saka yung values. Okay, now this is very important kasi later on, we will be meeting objects that are of list type. Aralin natin yun. No? Okay. So, if I click this, itong arrow na to, it will identify ngayon yung laman nitong G7 na to. So, number 1, dollar, no? Dollar, ibig sabihin, G7, dollar, yung unang-unang element na dito, it's numeric. Yung pangalawa, integer. Yung pangatlo, character, logical, complex. So, you can see here that G7, which is a list, contains different data types. Okay? So, list yung pwedeng, pati data frames. No? List pwedeng it can accommodate several data types. Ang vector, hindi, class. Diba? Yung G6 natin dito, tingnan nyo, yung kinombine natin G1 to G5, tingnan nyo, character siya. Kasi nag-coercion siya. No? Kino-coerce niya lahat ng yung mga elements ng G1 to G5, tinignan niya kung saan pwedeng i-coercion. Okay? So as I said, yung letter O, hindi pwedeng gawing numeric yan. Hindi pwedeng gawing integer yan. Pero yung numeric, pwedeng gawing character. Kaya nga nag-coerce siya pababa, no? To the quote-unquote, the least value. Okay? Alright, so any questions so far? Yes, Vince?
Sir, question po.
Sige.
What does the dollar sign mean po sa
Okay,
G6?
dollar sign here means that this one is an element of G7. Mamaya, I'll give an example ng dollar sign. Okay, so, sige, ko muna, let's use the function names for G7. Okay, names G7 null. Okay, ibig sabihin nito, wala siyang walang mga pangalan yung elements ni this will become clear when we go to data frame, yung susunod na pag-aaralan natin. So ang dollar dito class, ibig sabihin nito, itong element na to na numeric na 1 to 5, it's part of G7. Okay? That's what this dollar means. Mamaya, no? It will become, but thank you for that question. That's a very good question. We will go back to that, yung susunod na gagawin natin, yung data frame. Okay, mas clear doon. Dito hindi siya masyadong apparent. No? Okay, also, Vince, did that answer your question?
Yes po, sir.
Yeah, hold on lang muna. In a few moments, pupunta tayo sa data frame, then you will see kung ano ibig sabihin talaga ng dollar sign dito. No? It just means that these are elements of G7. Now also take note, as I said, na si list, it's placed under data. Yung mga vectors, under value siya. Okay? So ang difference nito, kapag clinic mo si G1, hindi siya makiklik, di ba? Makiklik na ba yung G1 dito? Dito, no? Okay. Hindi mo makiklik si G1 eh. You'll have to print that. Pero pag list, pwede siya maklik dito. Dito clinic natin, di ba? And it spelled out all the elements of the G7 object. Okay? And minimize ko to. And then if I click this, there. Lalabas siya dito sa spreadsheet natin dito. Okay? And it identifies ano laman ni G7, ito. Ang laman niya, ito. Yung first element niya, it's a double. No? Ibig sabihin, numeric to. No? Tapos ito yung in-spell out niya yung first, yung 5 elements. No? And then next one is integer. There are 6 elements here, 1 to 6. Next is character, J, K, L, M, and O. And then logical, and then complex. Ito class yung index niya. As I said, if I click G7 and then double parentheses and then you see 5, the number 5, ito yun. No? It will give us this one, 3 minus 2i, 2 plus 3i. Okay, in-index natin. Okay? Any questions so far, class? Clear ba yan? Pakichat naman please kung so far clear. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Now, I mentioned a while ago, yes, salamat, that a list may contain any type of vector, and then it may contain also a list. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. So here, G7 tayo, no? Okay. And I'll just put here, comma, list. Okay, take a look at this class. G7. No? Ang ginawa ko kay G7, linist ko si G1, G2, G5. No? Tapos sinama ko pa another list. List ni hello, FINTSAR, and then this. Okay? So take note, this is a list itself. Diba? The use of the list function will generate this object containing a character, another character, and then numeric. No? So here, I'm finding a list. Okay? This list is inside this list. So that's what I was saying a while ago. Now, a list can contain a list. A list can contain vectors, and then it can contain also a list. So it's a list within a list. So if we run this, ano nangyari? May nadagdag dito, no? Nadagdag dito. Okay? Tapos naging dalawa na yung index nito, no? Tingnan nyo to, nabago na, no? Okay? So nasama tong 6, 6, 1, 6, 2, 6, 3. So under object 6, may 6, 1 yan, may 6, 2, may 6, 3. Okay? So if I once again, tingnan nyo dito. So ito yung G1, G2, G3, G4, G5. Tapos sa ilalim, meron pang pang-anim, may list siya. Take a look at this. And if I click this, yun. Ito yung tatlong laman ng list na to. So this is what I meant by, this is a list inside a list. Okay? Alright, sige. Pause muna ako kasi to give you time to copy. If you're copying, pause ko muna to. Alright, so just for the sake of others who were not able yet to copy the code chunk. Yan. Tapos, okay, sige, copy ko na rin to. This is creating a vector to, no? Vector, kahit na pinag-combine natin yung mga different data types, okay? Hindi nag-coerce si nag-coerce si R, ito, hindi siya mag-coerce. Talagang kung ano yung laman ng G1, ilalagay niya doon kasi pwede dito. Kasi list to eh. Okay, let me chat this. For those of you who are having difficulty writing. Okay. Okay, so that's my point here, no? May list, nag-create tayo ng list dito, and then inside this list is another list. So pwede yun. And the distinction, the difference between a vector and the list when it's printed in the environment is that ito, no? Ito si list, naka-separate siya from the vector. And si list, print siya dito. Okay, ito is G7. Yan, dinidefine siya. Okay. All right. So the next one that we're going to look at is data frame. Ito yung isa sa pinaka-importante sa atin. So by definition, sabi natin, a data frame is a table or two-dimensional array-like structure. Okay. Unlike a list, no, class? Okay, so you have here the list of the object, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and then sixth, and may subset pa to, 6, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so isang row lang siya. Isang row lang. Unlike a data frame, two-dimensional siya, may row at saka may column. Okay, so a table or two-dimensional array-like structure, each column contains values of one variable, and each row contains one set of values for each column. Okay, so let's take a look first at the requirements for a structure, data structure to be considered a data frame. Number one, the column name should be non-empty. Dapat may pangalan yung column. Hindi pa pwedeng blanco. Okay, kung minsan maglo-load ka ng data sa R na column siya, na data frame siya, tapos walang pangalan, maglalagay si R dyan, maglalagay ng V1, V2, V3, lalagyan ng pangalan. So if you want it to be considered as a data frame, kailangan may pangalan yung column. The row name should be unique. So kunyari, ang row name can be an index, row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4. Hindi pa pwedeng row 1, tas row 1 ulit, tas row 2 ulit, row 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4. Hindi pa pwedeng ganun. Okay, the row name should be unique. And then the data can be, pwedeng siyang numeric, pwedeng factor, pwedeng character, pwede siyang complex, kahit ano pa pwede. Pwede siyang date, no? So dito pareho si data frame at saka si list, no? And then each column should contain the same number of data items. So kunyari, column 1. Okay, let me illustrate that. Okay, so suppose we have this data, meron tayong x1, x2, these are our variables, x3, x4. No? Tapos, meron tayong observation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Okay. So for this to be a data frame, so dapat may mga pangalan to. In this case, may pangalan siya, generic lang, x1, x2, x3, x4. The column name should be non-empty. Hindi pa pwedeng blanco yan. Dapat may pangalan siya. So this is x1. Okay, the row name should be unique. So by default, ang row names is the index number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Unique dapat. Hindi pa pwedeng mauulit si 1, tapos 2, tapos 2, tapos 2. Hindi pa pwedeng ganun. Number 3, the data can be of numeric. So pwede numeric to. Kunyari, you're taking a look at the age. So pag age, numeric yan, di ba? Kunyari, hourly wage, kung magkano yung salary niya per hour. So, numeric din yan. It can be a factor. Ano yung factor? Kunyari, ang variable number 3 is gender. So we have male, male, female, female, female. Okay. Technically, this is a character. Character data type to. But any character data type that can be used to classify or as a classifier, okay, then that data type, data, that variable is called a factor. So ito, pwede natin i-consider to as a factor. Kasi pwede natin makita, kunyari, yung impact ng mga variables natin on males or females. No? Right? O kaya ito year level. This can also be considered as, this is considered as a character, kunyari, frosh, sophomore, senior, etc. Junior. Junior ulit kunyari. Alright? So if you can see this one, they are technically characters. Pero characters to na pwede siyang i-classify as ano? Pwede siyang i-classify accordingly by group. So lahat ng frosh pwede. No? So character type objects that are like that can be considered as factors. Otherwise, kung hindi naman siya pwedeng i-classify, then then character siya, hindi siya necessarily factor. So ang factor lang yung pwedeng ma-classify. Kunyari, sinama mo yung address, yung exact address. Unless you want na i-classify yung mga respondents mo by their address, then pwedeng gawing factor yun. Pero kung hindi, then example lang character yun. Okay? So I hope that's clear, no? Yung distinction ng character at saka ng factor. Yung factor ginagamit yan para ma-classify. No? Okay, so let me clear this first. Okay. Clear so far yung definitions itong mga data frames? Kindly chat please. Kung clear tayo so far. Okay. Good. Thank you. All right. Sige. So let's continue. Okay, before we run this, gawan mo tayo isang example. Control Alt I. Okay, we're going to install a particular package that contains data sets. No? And if you recall, paano tayo mag-i-install ng package? Either you go here to the packages or gamitin natin to. Install that packages and then let's access the package Datarium. So Control Enter. Okay, so mag-run na yan. Mag-install na siya. And then if you check your packages, once it runs, hanapin nyo si Datarium dito. Datarium. Okay, nag-load na siya, nag-install na siya. How do I know installed na siya? If you take a look at the console, andito na yung nasa new line na yung active cell natin. Okay, so once you have installed it and then let's say you go to packages, you will now see Datarium. Okay, and then we said that one way to access the functionality of Datarium is to use library or require. Okay, so if I run this and then if you check, di ba sabi natin, check na to, yung Datarium na to. Okay, so either I click this or I run this, walang problema yung pareho lang na. Yeah. Library Datarium, and you can see here that andito na si ano. All right. So Datarium contains data sets. No? If you click this Datarium, and then ito yung help function, data bank for statistical analysis and visualization. So there are several data sets here that we can use. Okay? So i-access natin tong si marketing data set. So what I'm going to do is, okay, data, I'm going to load data marketing there. So this is the code, this is the function that you use in order to load a particular data set. No? So ito, maloload natin no kasi ready na si Datarium. Eh. Datarium is the package that contains this. So kung hindi natin linode si Datarium, tapos nag-data lang tayo, hindi magra-run yan. Kasi hindi mare-recognize ni R kung saan galing yung marketing na yan. Okay. So let's run this. Control Enter. And then what do you see, class? If you go to the environment, lalabas dito, okay, marketing promise. So it's now ready to be used. No? Yun ang ibig sabihin ng promise dyan. Okay. So let's now make use of the function view. Capital V class, no? Capital V, and then marketing. Run this, Control Enter, and then it will print out this data set, this marketing data set. Okay. And if I check the objects here, kanina si marketing naka-promise lang. Nung view ko na siya, andito na siya sa data. Nasa data na siya. Kasama ni G7, which is a list. So both list and data frame form part of your data here. Si vector, nasa value siya. Okay, if you take a look at this, ito, yung symbol na to, yung lens, no? Vector yan. Ito, spreadsheet, data frame yan. If I click this, babalik dito. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Itong data na to. So number one, ano yung requirements para maging data frame? Okay. The column names should be non-empty. So take a look at this. May column names ba siya? YouTube, Facebook, newspaper, sales. Okay? Column names, non-empty, meron siya. In fact, if you get the names, ano yung mga pangalan ni marketing? So run nyo tong names marketing. Okay, what do you get? What do you get, class?
Yung column names.
Okay, yung mga variable names, di ba? YouTube, Facebook, newspaper, sales. Okay, so let me run that, Control Enter. Ayan. No? Okay, so unlike kanina yung list, walang mga variables name yun. Walang, we type yung di ba, names, walang lumabas, null. Ang data frame, meron. Okay, another requirement is that the row name should be unique. So in this case, ang row name sa atin, yung index, 1 up to 200. So unique yan, wala na uulit dyan. Up to 200. Okay? So next requirement is the data can be of numeric, factor, or character type. So lahat dito, lahat numeric yung data natin. Wala tayong character or factor dito. Okay? But you can have combinations. No? I mean, when I say combinations, pwedeng may another variable dito. Kunyari, let's say gender, example lang. When you have your male or female, that can be considered as a factor. Okay, next. Each column should contain the same number of data items. Okay, if we look at row 200, so lahat sila tig to 200. Okay, it's not a case of sales having 250 observations, tapos si newspaper 200 lang, si Facebook 200, si YouTube 200. Okay. Hindi data frame yun. Magkaka-error tayo. So dapat pareho sila. Okay. So babalikan ko yung question kanina ni sorry. Sino nagtanong kanina ng dollar sign? Si Vince ba yan? Vince, ikaw ba nagtanong nun? Yung dollar sign kanina, kung anong ibig sabihin? Okay. Sige nga, class, kunin niyo yung average, yung mean ni, sabihin natin, mean ni YouTube. How do you get the mean of YouTube? Mean, just standard deviation. Mean, YouTube, here, mean. Average ni YouTube. And then also standard deviation niya. Okay, can you please tell me what answer you're getting? What is the mean, average ni YouTube? Numeric yan, di ba? So pwede natin kunin yung average yan. So what are you getting, class? Ano yung mean ni YouTube? Ano yung average value ni YouTube? You got, ano? John, you got 176? If you run this code, ito, mean ng
Ay,
YouTube.
sir, I used a different code po.
Oh, pero I'm asking this one. Ito lang, no? Mean ni YouTube. Okay, anybody? Error? Yes. Error. Thank you, Lawrence. How about the others? Are you getting standard deviation in YouTube? Are you getting the value of the standard deviation? Yes, correct. Kasi I'm asking this question because I want to answer the question a while ago yung dollar sign. Okay, first, let's take a look at our objects. No? Bakit nag-error to? Bakit, class? If you take a look at your environment window, wala namang YouTube dito di ba? Walang Facebook, walang sales. So if you're getting the, let's say, the kurtosis of sales, the skewness of Facebook, you won't get an answer. Mag-error. Kasi hindi naman nare-recognize ni R, si YouTube, si Facebook. Hindi nare-recognize. Wala dito eh. So how do we answer these questions? Okay, error siya. These questions are answered. Okay, mean, okay, we know, saan ba galing tong YouTube na to? YouTube comes from this object marketing. So marketing, okay? So from marketing, I want to get YouTube. Okay, so how do I do that? Dito lalabas class yung dollar sign. Dollar. Yan. So if you type dollar, lalabas dyan, ano ba yung laman ni marketing? Kasi the dollar sign here is used to identify the variables that are found in the marketing object, which is a data frame. So pag data frame kasi yan, may mga variables yan. Okay, so dito in-specify sa atin. Marketing dollar, then yun. YouTube, Facebook, newspaper sales. Apat yun, diba? So if I choose YouTube tab, sorry. No? Dollar sign muna, tapos there, YouTube. There. Okay? I'm now able to get the average of YouTube, which is under marketing. 176.451. So that's where you you are able to get the a particular metric measure for your variables. You have to identify the object it's coming from. The object is marketing. Now, pwede ba na hindi natin gamitin si marketing? Tapos mean ng YouTube na lang? Imagine if you're computing for so many values and then kailangan natin i-specify lagi si marketing. So lahat ng mga natin Anova, marketing, YouTube, no? Lahat may marketing. So pwede ba yun na matanggal na lang si marketing kasi kung paulit-ulit lang yan? Is that possible? Any guess, class? Let me repeat my question. So if you're going to get statistical analysis, do a statistical analysis for the different variables in the marketing, every time, let's say, KURT, kurtosis, and then ito type mo marketing, then dollar sign, say sales. You have to do that. Otherwise, pag sales lang ginamit mo, hindi maiintindihan. Okay, is there a possibility na hindi na natin gagamitin si marketing? Anyone? Yes, may sagot dito.
Sir,
Yes, Heart.
sir,
Yes.
if
Ah.
ako po, maybe I'll just assign a variable to marketing YouTube po. So for example, like I'll assign it as A1 or something.
A1. So sige, paano mo i-assign as A1 yun? So sige, gawin natin A1 si ano. Ang sabi naman ni Hart, if you turn into a variable. So pareho lang na answer ni, who's this? Who was one who answered?
Jan po, sir.
John. So halos pareho kayo ni Hart na answer, no? Turn it into a variable. So sige, paano natin i-turn into a variable? A1. Sige, gagawin kong A1 ha. A1 is yung column names ni marketing na YouTube. Okay, so ito, papalitan ko, no? Sabi ko A1, so dapat, column names marketing YouTube. Let me check this. No? Wait. Okay. A1. Okay, mali yata yung code ko. Asa na si marketing? Dapat to marketing, sorry marketing $A1. Okay, so go see. What am I doing here, class? Call enter, and then okay, mali. Wait ha. Andali ha. Okay, ang ginawa ni John, sabi niya A1. Okay. You mean, okay, paki-explain nga John ang ginawa mo. Sige, let's discuss that.
Sir, so essentially po, I just assigned A1 to be the same as marketing, the YouTube column of the marketing dataset.
Alright, so ang ginawa ni John dito, thank you John for your answer. He created a new object. No? Nag-create siya ng A1. So sabi ni John, A1, and then alt minus marketing, then dollar YouTube. There. So what's this? This is now a new object A1. Tapos marketing YouTube. So I now have this A1, which is actually a vector, no? Yan, A1 is a vector. Yan. So if I print A1 kahit yung head A1. Okay. ito yung laman ng ng YouTube. However, class, ano nangyari dito? Nag-create tayo ng isang vector. No? Makukuha nga natin yung makukuha natin yung mean niya. Mean ni A1 is 176.451. Okay? Kaso, this was not the intention. Okay? Kasi gusto pa rin natin ma-maintain pa rin yung marketing. Kasi bakit natin i-draw out yung variable na yan, which became a vector, mas powerful kasi kung yung ginagamit natin yung saan yung si marketing ko. Nawala si marketing. View. Marketing. Okay. Yan, diba? So, we actually would not want to create just a vector of numbers kasi wala tayong masyadong gamit sa atin. Okay, gusto natin ma-maintain pa rin itong object na to, yung marketing. Kaso, para makuha natin yung statistical computations, statistical metrics like mean, median, standard deviation, etc. Kailangan i-attach pa rin natin si marketing to get YouTube, Facebook, etc. Okay, so let me answer my question. Pwede ba nating gamitin na lang si YouTube, Facebook, newspaper? Pwede, class. Okay, mag-ano lang ako Let me just clean this kasi mahaba na yun. Okay. So how do we do that? Okay, what we can do is, okay, but class, use this in moderation itong method na to Gagamitin nyo lang to if, kunyari in this specific portion of the codes, panay marketing lang gagamitin. Okay? Tapos pag tapos ko nang gamitin sa marketing, i-reverse ko yung process. So how do I do that? We can use the function attach. I-attach natin yung object ng marketing. Okay. So what happens when we attach the object marketing? Andiyan pa rin si marketing. It tells us that in the next steps, any function that we're going to perform is all linked to marketing. So when I get the mean of YouTube, pwede na yan. No? Kasi inattach ko na, ibig sabihin yan, si YouTube, galing kay marketing yan. Okay, R knows kasi inattach ko si marketing. So if I get this, pwede na. No? Get the standard deviation of Facebook. SD na Facebook. Okay, pwede na. No? Okay? Standard deviation yan. Pwede. Na-compute siya. Even without using the dollar sign, marketing dollar, Facebook or YouTube. Okay? We use the attach function. And then when you're done, say, hindi maganda to class kung meron ka pang ibang data frames ang gagamitin. No? Okay? When you're done, for example, and then you're going to move to another data frame, i-detach mo na. Detach marketing. Which means, hindi na marketing yung gagamitin mo sa mga susunod. Ibang data frame na kunyari. So when you get the mean of YouTube, okay, error na siya. Hindi na na-recognize to ni R. Okay, clear ba so far, class?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any questions? Yung attach yung attach. Okay? Alright. So, again, class, pwede pa rin ma-compute yung example natin kanina by generating another object. Pero, isipin nyo kung kailangan pa ba yun. If you need to create another object that constitutes only one specific row. And then also, siguro kung gagamitin natin yon, pwedeng A1, ganito, A1 as that ito, as that data that frame, and then marketing YouTube. Maybe this is a better idea, no? So, wag lang vector. If you really want another object, okay, A1. All right. So, tingnan natin si A1. Asa na si A1 yun? Nasa data na siya, no? Nasa data na siya. So, the difference between, and now, yung A1 kanina, nawala na, diba? Bakit nawala na si A1 dito, yung vector lang? Kasi na-supersede na. Okay, I use A1, okay, as the name of the object. So kung meron pang ibang A1 dyan, anywhere here, masu-supersede yun, mawawala. And then here you have now A1. Okay. Ito yung A1 natin. Okay. So, okay, ang pangit ng niya, no, you can change this, no? You can change nag-default si R kasi hindi tayo nag-identify ng ng pangalan. But we'll deal with names This is not a good way to name your column. Okay, so let me see. All right, thank you for your feedback. Okay, let's go back to our problem a while ago. Close ko lang to. Okay, we're here. Okay, so ito, we will not run this, no? Kasi simple lang naman to, no? You're creating an object and this is a vector, diba? Numeric vector to. This is a character vector. This is a logical vector. And then here, you're creating this object df and then data.frame. And then you're combining NSB. Okay? So you notice my name's yung column NSB. Tapos, ang elements nito, three rows. So pare-parehong 3 rows, so okay siya. Okay, and when we create this, it will now be a data frame. So i-run natin to quickly. Alright? So ito yung mga laman niya. What's inside DF? Ito. Ito muna yung N, yung S, at saka yung B. And then here, yung DF, column N, column S, column B. And let's just get the class of DF. It's a data frame. Okay, so let's not spend too much time there. Napakasimple naman na example na yun. So let's go to example 2. Okay, unless you have any questions sa example 1. May questions ba sa example 1, class? Okay, no questions? All right. So let's move on to example number 2. Okay, so here we're creating this object, employee.data. So ito yung object natin. So take note, yan, data.frame na kagad, no? So this is the function that you use when you're creating a data frame. So ano laman ng data frame na to? Number 1, employee ID. Okay, employee ID. So it's equal to daw, this is once again, okay, random generation. No? And yung run if na to, so tingnan natin na. So that's for your uniform distribution. UN, uniform, uni, okay? Dito ka nga sa ilalim. Okay, so let's run if. Help function tayo. Okay, so this is from the stats package. So uniform distribution. So these functions, class, these functions provide information about a uniform distribution. Okay? So ito yung density ng uniform distribution, probability, quantile, and yung random. Parang yung rand natin, R norm. No? So ang syntax niya, N, kung ilang numbers, and then again, my default dito, minimum is equal to 0, maximum is equal to 1. Okay, may mga examples sa baba. Yan, for example, this one. Copy natin, Control C. So we're creating this object U. Okay, Control V. Okay, hindi siya naglagay ng ano, di ba? Ng maximum, minimum, at saka maximum. Because we know that the default is, sabi dito sa syntax, ang default niya, ang minimum 0 and maximum 1. Okay, so we expect numbers between 0 and 1. So let's run this object U. Okay, tingnan natin. Ayan. Of course, we'll have different numbers. Okay, so these are numbers between 0 and 1. And if we plot this, plot lang natin histogram. Okay, you can see here that this is more of a uniform distribution. Uniformly distributed siya. Okay, so balik tayo dito, no? In-explain ko lang yung example number 2 ginagamit natin dito. We have learned about R norm, normally distributed. Ito naman uniformly distributed. R run Parang run, no? Run if R is random. Okay, and then 10 observations, and then minimum 1,000, maximum 999. Okay, since this is randomly generated, lagyan natin ng set.seed class para pare-pareho tayo. Set.seed, say 234, yun na lang. Any number, pero para pare-pareho tayo ng number, 234 na lang. Okay. So 10 numbers nito. Tapos another object, so, another vector 2 employee name, a vector of character values, Rick, Dan, Michelle, ilan siya? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, tama, no? 10 rows to. Yung employee ID natin, 10 rows din. Salary natin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 din. So, okay to. Tama siya. No? Dapat kasi pare-pareho yung number of observations. And then start date. Okay, ito na naman si as.date, no? By default, year, month, date. So, okay to. Alright. And then here, strings at factors is equal to false. Remember, I mentioned what factors are. Kasi dito may mga strings, may mga characters. Ang sinasabi lang niya, wag gawing factors itong mga character variables. Okay, do not make them as factors. Unless you would want to categorize lahat ng mga Rick, lahat ng mga Dan, which unlikely naman, no, na yun ang gusto natin gawin. Okay. So, okay, take note that dito, ito, no, employee ID will be treated as run if, it's an object to be generated by run if. So vector to. Vector ng mga numeric, vector ng mga character, vector ng numeric, vector ng dates. Okay? And dapat pag pare-pareho silang tig sa 10 para yung data frame. Okay? Alright, i-run natin to, class. Let's run this. Okay, what happened? Let's take a look at our ano nangyari? Alright, we have now here employee data. Ito yun. 10 observations with 4 variables. So, ito yung laman niya. Ano yung mga variables niya? Employee ID, employee name, salary, start date. And then, okay, so, print ko ba? O, print ko no? Naka-open and close parentheses. Kaya nag-automatic print siya. Ito yung 10. Alright, so ito yung employee ID, and then employee name, salary, and then start date. Okay, ang pangit ng ID, baguhin natin si ID. Alright, so gawin natin ditong round. And then wag natin lagyan ng no decimal place. Yan. Okay? So yung round off, open and close parentheses, dalawa yung syntax yan kung ano yung ipapa-round. Tapos kung ilang decimal place, 0. Okay, let's run this again. Okay, so we now have, I'm sure we have the same employee IDs already. Okay, so this is now our data frame. Let's check the class. Check natin yung class. Control-Alt-I. And then class ni DF. Okay, data frame siya. Alright? What if kung ginawa natin itong 9, tingnan natin 9 lang siya. So, ibig sabihin si employee ID, only 9, while the others are 10. Okay, let's run this. Okay, nag-error siya. Nag-error. Arguments imply differing number of rows. Yung isa 9, yung iba 10. Which, since sinasabi natin dito, dapat data frame siya, it will violate the requirements for a data frame. Okay, the row names dapat each column should contain the same number of of data items. No? Kasi yung ibang column, anong nangyari, si employee name, 10, si salary, 10, si employee ID, 9 lang. So, hindi siya pa pwede. No? Okay, balik natin sa 10. Okay, any questions about that, class? Clear ba yan? Paki-chat naman please kung clear yan. Okay, good. Thank you. So, waiting for the others. Okay, good. No questions so far, huh? Okay, thank you. All right, so okay na to. I run this, okay na siya. Ayan. Okay, so let's have another example. Ito, example number 3. So ang gawin natin, class, medyo ayusin natin to, no? Okay, mag-ID tayo dito. May R norm tayo dito, normally distributed. So mag-set that seed ulit tayo. Set that seed para pare-pareho tayo na. So 999 na lang. Okay. And then wag natin i-print to. Kasi pinapaprint ko dito eh. So we're creating this vector. Integer vector to, di ba? 1 up to 200. And then we're also going to create another vector. Ang pangalan niya group. Tapos, i-concatenate niya. I-repeat yung word na vehicle 100 times. And then another repeat drag 100 times. Alright? So this is okay kasi 100, 100, 200. Pareho sa ID number na 200. Okay, then we have another one, response. So ano yung laman ng response na to? Meron tayong numeric, no? And it's combining dalawang R norm, yung isang average 100, mean of 25, standard deviation of 5. Yung isa naman, 100 observations, mean 23, standard deviation 5. Okay, so all in all, 200 observations to. So okay to. Kasi yung group 200 din, yung ID 200. Dapat pare-pareho silang 200. Okay, and so, let's now create this object. Huwag natin muna pa-print. My data. My data. And then, ito, yung data.frame, di ba? So, we're creating this object called data.frame. Tapos, it will consist of si ID, which is this one, si group, this one, at saka si response. So, pwede ito kasi tig 200 sila. Pareho yung number of rows. And then, yung ID na to, palitan natin yung pangalan ng variable. Let's call it patient. Yung group, tawagin natin treatment. At saka yung small response, gawin natin capital response. Alright, and then let's get the head. Yung first, ano na lang, my data. First 10 observations. Yeah. Let's print the first 10 observations on my data and see if we have the same. Enter. All right, so this is now our first 10 observations. We should have the same answers, class, kasi nag-R norm tayo eh. Nag-set that seed tayo. So patient 1, and then vehicle, and then yung response 23.59. Yung first 100 dito, vehicle, and the rest is drug. Okay, so questions, class? Let me pause for a while and check on you. Okay, so far clear ba, class? Okay, so far clear? Okay, good. Okay, salamat, class. Okay. All right, so let's create now. Tuloy natin to, no? Now, head my data. Data will be different because of no random use. So ito, nag-ano tayo, di ba? Nag-set that seed, so hindi na relevant yan. Okay. So nag-head na tayo ng my data. Okay, ito na lang, Control Alt I. Let me copy ko na lang to. So, hex. Then, okay, sorry about the changes here. Close ko na to. We should be getting the same answers class in sa response. Okay, tail gives us the last 12. Okay, let's run this. Tail. Ito yung last 12 observations. 180 hanggang 180 hanggang 2. Ano ba yan? Wait. 12 rows ba? O 12 rows pala. So from number 189 to 200. Okay, we should have the same answers here, class. Okay, then let's take a look at this. Yung dimension. Yung dimension in my data. So now, okay, let me run this. Length, my data. Yung length na function, sabay natin dito. Okay, yung length na function, it just gives us, for a data frame, it will give us the number of variables, the number of columns. In dimension naman, it will give us the dimension, yung row by column. 200 observations, 200 rows by 3 columns. Kunin din natin names my data. So dito yung mga names siya. Yung ginamit natin na name for the variable. Patient, ginawa natin patient is equal to ID. Kasi yung object natin, ang pangalan ID. Ito, ID. Pero pinapalitan natin yung, nung nag-data frame tayo, binago natin yung variable name. Okay, patient is equal to ID, treatment is equal to group, etc. And response. Okay, then we can also look at structure. What does the structure give us? So it will give us some information, very important information about the structure. So this is a data frame consisting of 200 rows by 3 columns, 200 by 3 to. And then ito yung mga ano niya, ito yung mga variables niya. Ito class yung dollar, no? Dollar patient, which is integer, dollar treatment, which is character, and dollar response, which is numeric. So for example, if I want to get the, okay, if I want to get the, let's say, skewness. Baka skew lang. Parang walang skew. Skew ni, dapat may, hindi pa pwedeng response lang, di ba? Tignan mo, hindi siya na-recognize. Hindi na-recognize yung response ng object. Error siya. Could not find, at saka yung skew mali din. So, ano na lang, kurtosis meron ba? Okay, hindi ko masyadong sa kurto. Ano na lang, mean, para sure na may answer. Mean ng response, again, mag-error siya kasi hindi, again, na-recognize yung response na to. It's not listed here. The response object, okay, yung response na to, nasa ano siya, my data. So, dapat dito, my data, $sign. My data dollar, yan, response. 23.56. All right. Any questions, class? Pause muna ako. Any question? Okay, thank you. Clear ba so far? Okay. All right, good. Okay, 23 point. All right. So, definitely hindi natin matatapos to, no? Kasi, but before I forget, so which means, class, that we still need one more session to cover this. And since ano to, no, itong remaining lessons, yung date. Dadagdagan ko to kasi it's yung session natin 1.5 hours for Monday will be more than enough to cover this. Plus, so let me share with you another file. Pakidala tong file na to on Monday kasi this is a continuation of our discussion here. So nasa FINTSAR K32. Ay, hindi ko nalagay dito. Desktop. Matrices and arrays. Alright, we're going to discuss this next meeting. Shinare ko na ngayon. Make sure that you download it and make sure you upload it in our project para madali nyo ma-access the next meeting. I expect you to be bringing that next meeting. We're going to use that. Okay, so let's just see up to which portion here we can discuss. Okay, when yung subsetting class, you have here your parentheses and then you have here your first number and then second number. When you subset, particularly nakaka-subset ka lang kung data frame. Okay, let me illustrate that. Kanina, di ba meron tayong G6, di ba? G7, yung list natin. Tama ba? Masya ba yung list natin? Let me check our environment. G7. If I get the length of G7, okay, 6. Bakit 6? Kasi 6 yung laman ni G7, list of 6, no? If we get the dimension of G7, okay, null. Okay, bakit null? Kasi a dimension gives us the number of rows and the number of columns. While on the other hand, yung G7 natin, yung dimension ni, yung my data natin, yung data frame natin, di ba, ginawa natin to? So meron siya, 200 by 3. So the dimension function gives us the number of rows and the number of columns. So, pag data frame, madaling i-subset yung natin data frame. Example, here. Okay, my data, i-subset mo nga yung first row, the first number here is row, the second number is column. So first row, column 2. If you take a look at the my data object, asan natin my data? Okay, my data, let me show this here. Okay, my data. Okay, so first row daw, second column. First row. Diba? Ito yung first row. Row 1, second column, 1, 2. So ito siya. Okay? So yung subset ng my data na 1 at saka 2, this means this is the first row and this is the second column. And the answer there is vehicle. Vehicle yan. So tingnan na nga natin example dito. Okay, this one. So if I run this, control enter. Okay, vehicle nga siya. So how about this? 1 up to 20 and then 2 up to 3. If I take a look at our object, where's my data? So row 1 up to 20. So hanggang row 20 yun. And then column 2 and 3. Columns 2 and 3. So dapat ang lalabas yung treatment at saka response na 1 up to 20. So let's run that. Kasi ito yun, ano? 1 up to 20, those are the number of rows and columns natin, 2 is to 3. 2 and 3. Okay, so yan. 20 rows. And then ang column natin, second column and third column, treatment at saka response. Okay, it's almost time. So, pag hindi naglalagay class nito, kunyari empty siya, ibig sabihin lahat lahat ng columns. If you don't put anything here, it will be treated as everything, all the columns. Okay, so it's almost time. So next meeting class, we're going to finish this. Itong subsetting natin. And then we're going to look at dates, no? Date object. And then we're going to go to matrices and arrays. All right. So we end. Okay, we stop recording ko na.
Sir.
Dali
What file